The Forsaken Heir. Episode 83. Cynthia walked very fast. The stride meteor came in and went straight to the dining table where Charlie was. And Isaac followed her step by step with a respectful attitude. When Charlie was still a few meters away, Cynthia smiled and said, "Oh, Charlie, I haven't seen him for so many years, and he has grown into a handsome young man." Charlie looked at Cynthia and found some childhood memories on her face. So he laughed and said, "I will be 27 years old soon, and I am not a big or small guy anymore." Cynthia looked very intimate, and said with a smile, "Oh, you look so much like your dad. It's like a mold." Charlie nodded and smiled. Compared with the previous years, Auntie seems to have not changed much. Cynthia laughed and said, "A dozen or 20 years have passed in a blink of an eye, and I am almost 50 years old. How could I be the same as before?" At this time, Isaac had already taken Cynthia's seat away carefully. When Cynthia sat down, he glanced at Charlie's side, and saw that Charlie had always been sitting on the chair, but he hadn't stood up before she took a seat. She couldn't help feeling a little dissatisfied. According to the rules, the younger generation at the dinner table should stand up and wait respectfully when the elders arrive. If the elders speak, the younger ones must bend over and lower their heads to listen carefully. If the elder is seated, the younger must wait until the elder is seated, and when the elder indicates only then he can sit. But Charlie did well. His butt looked like he was on a chair all the way, not to mention standing up. He didn't even bother to move. Cynthia felt annoyed all at once. She actually didn't have a good impression of Charlie. If Charlie keeps missing, never shows up again, it is naturally best for her. But she didn't expect that this kid had been missing for so many years, and suddenly jumped out to divide the assets of the Wade family. What made her even more unacceptable was that the old master gave him Emgrand Group and 10 billion cash, which was not enough, and he wanted him to return to the Wade family. She looked at Charlie, who was dressed in ordinary clothes, had an easygoing temperament, and had some ignorance of etiquette, and she said in her heart, "What qualifications does such a person have to return to the Wade family? Any direct member of the Wade family has received aristocratic education since childhood. Then he went abroad to receive advanced studies." Compared with Charlie, who only spent a year as a senior in Oris Hill, it is almost a heaven and earth difference. Letting such a semi-illiterate return to Wade family will definitely lose Wade family's face. However, although Cynthia didn't like Charlie very much in her heart, she did not dare to refuse the father's explanation. After all, after she and her husband were completely separated, her wishful thinking was to return to the Wade family, so that in the future, she would get a share of the family's assets. But after all, she was a married woman, and she wanted to return to her natal family to separate the family property. She herself was very repelled by the Andrew and Changyun brothers. In this case, if Cynthia still wants to get some of her assets, she must have her father's strong support. Therefore, she has always been the only one in the Wade family. She usually has eyes above the top, no one is in the eye, and everyone does not dare to contradict her, but she did not dare to disobey the old master. Moreover, whenever the old master confessed to her, she always went all out to make the old master happy. Therefore, she also warned herself in her heart, "This time, I have to do the things my father arranged for me beautifully." Let's not say that I can persuade Charlie to return to the Wade family, at least let him agree. For the Lunar New Year, he has to go back to Wade's house to spend time with the old master. Thinking of this, she suppressed her dissatisfaction with Charlie, and said with a smile, "Charlie, you have really suffered in Oris Hill these years. My family hasn't seen you for so many years, and all of them miss you very much. When do you want to come home and have a look?" "Come home and have a look?" Charlie couldn't help but smile when he heard these words. Cynthia saw that he had a fake smile on his face, so she said, "Charlie, people say that you are leaving home to be the boss. Now that you are no longer young, you should come back and have a look after you have been away for so many years." Charlie nodded, agreeing, "You are right. After leaving for so long, I should take time to go back and have a look." As he said, he smiled and said, "Well, I'll arrange a time later, and I will check it out if I have time." Charlie seemed to have agreed to Cynthia's proposal, but in fact it was nothing more than a drag formula. After a while, to arrange another time, is basically tantamount to nowhere. Anyway, his only idea is to deal with today. Of course, Cynthia also knew Charlie's plan, and immediately said, "Charlie, don't have any resistance to your family. My family has always cared about you very much. Don't forget, your grandfather heard that you were in Oris Hill. He immediately asked Stephen to buy you the Emgrand Group and transfer 10 billion in cash. It is reasonable. You should also come back and meet the old master, what do you think?" Charlie asked back, "Auntie, is it true that I just have to go back and have a look, and this matter is settled?" Cynthia's dissatisfaction has grown stronger. In her opinion, Charlie was indeed a little ignorant of good and bad. Wade family asked her to come all the way to ask him to go back. This is already a shame for her. If he knows a little bit, he should immediately agree to it, and then go directly with her plane back to celebrate the new year. Unexpectedly, he actually played hide and seek with her here, and he even said nothing. "So," she said to Charlie with a slightly displeased expression, "Charlie, your grandfather invested 110 billion in you. This amount of money is nothing to the Wade family, but it is purely from quantitatively speaking, it is definitely a huge sum of money. Is it possible to invest so much in you so that you can only go back and take a look?" Charlie looked at Cynthia and asked seriously, "Auntie, what exactly does the Wade family want from me? You don't have to hide it here. Let's open the skylight to speak up." Cynthia hesitated for a moment, then nodded and said, "Well, since you said that, then I won't go around with you." As she said, Cynthia sat up straight and said with a serious expression, "Your grandfather meant to let you come back to Wade's house to spend a reunion year together." Charlie raised his eyes and asked with interest, "Did it break? What happened?" Cynthia said, "You have nothing more than an Emgrand Group in Oris Hill, and a family of your current wife." As she said, Cynthia stretched out a finger and said arrogantly, "First of all, regarding the Emgrand Group, you can continue to ask Doris to help you take care of it at that time. We have investigated this person, and she has the ability, and during this period of time, the Emgrand Group has developed well in her hands, so you can rest assured to hand it over to her." After that, Cynthia stretched out another finger, "Secondly, your current wife, Claire's family. We have investigated the situation of the Wilson family. To be honest, such a family cannot even count as a bull in front of the Wade family. No. How can their family be the Wade family's in-laws? Cynthia had already looked disgusted at this time, and said, "So, I advise you to leave that Claire as soon as possible and draw a clear line with their family. It is best to give them a sum of money directly and let them get away forever. Leave China so that no one will make a big fuss about them in the future and satirize our Wade family man who is hungry and does not choose food." Charlie's face immediately became a little ugly when he heard this, and his voice became colder and colder. He said, "Auntie, my marriage is my own business, and it has nothing to do with you or the Wade family. So, please don't interfere with the family." Cynthia sighed and persuaded, "Charlie, don't be so arrogant. Think about it yourself. You are a descendant of the Wade family. Choose 10 of the richest second generations in the country with the highest status and you will definitely be there. For a seat, how could the girl with the surname Wilson be worthy of you? She wouldn't even be qualified to carry your shoes. In ancient times, she wouldn't even had the qualifications to be your housekeeper." Charlie said with a bit of sullen tone, "Auntie, she is my wife at first, and she married me when I was at the bottom of my life. I would never divorce her, I don't need to divorce her." Cynthia said with regret, "Charlie, don't use emotions." Charlie said coldly, "Emotional matters, of course, I must be emotional." Cynthia blurted out, "As a descendant of a wealthy family, feelings are not even a bull. Do you remember your uncle? He is also a kind of talent. He has treated me well for so many years, but what about it? Once his family strength couldn't match, I separated from him." Immediately afterwards, Cynthia said unwillingly, "If it weren't in your grandfather's opinion, woman's initiative to divorce will affect her reputation, and if I was not allowed to go through the divorce formalities, I would have severed all relations with him. You are a man, at all. Don't worry about the impact of divorce on your reputation, you just divorced the surname Wilson, and returned to East Cliff to marry a well-known eldest lady. The future is boundless." Charlie sneered and said, "I'm sorry, I am more emotional. If you can do something like this, I can't do it." Seeing that Charlie did not accept her suggestion, Cynthia immediately said, "Charlie, you have to find out that Wade family's hands are one of the best in the whole country. Any woman who wants to marry into our Wade family, must have a family background that matches the Wade family. Otherwise, it will drag my Wade family back and shame my family's face. The Wade family's face must not be ruined by you or ruined by the surname Wilson in the hands of the humble family." Charlie said coldly, "I'm sorry, although I am a Wade, I am not someone you can control and control at will. I am in charge of my marriage. No one else has the right to interfere. The same is true for you. You." Cynthia was furious at that moment. She slapped the table and stood up and shouted angrily, "Charlie! You thought I was talking to you in a good voice, and I was discussing it with you. What?" Charlie asked her coldly, "Are you going to force me to get a divorce?" Cynthia scolded, "You are the heir of the Wade family. You must follow the arrangements of the Wade family. What's more, do you think the Emgrand Group and the 10 billion cash are given to you in vain? If you are not obedient, the Wade family can support you, just I can step on you." Charlie was also immediately furious, and he said coldly, "You don't want to talk about the Emgrand Group and the 10 billion cash here. The reason why the Wade family was able to advance by leaps and bounds and stand at the top of the country was due to my father's dedication, plowing, and strategizing decision-making. If the property is counted, my father owns at least a quarter of the Wade family's asset inheritance rights. If that is the case, let alone 110 billion, even 110 billion, I deserve it." Speaking of this, Charlie's tone became more severe, and he scolded, "My father did so much for the Wade family, but how did you return him? You forced our family of 3 out of East Cliff. In the end, my parents died tragically. I haven't settled this account with you yet." Cynthia didn't expect Charlie to dare to talk to her like this. Moreover, when Charlie said that he should inherit a quarter of Wade family's assets, she was immediately furious. So, she shouted directly, "You are too high on yourself. Why should you inherit a quarter of the assets of the Wade family?" Charlie said coldly, "Just because I am Charlie. Just because my father is changing." Cynthia scolded, "Your dad has been dead for so many years, so you still want to inherit the Wade family's assets? I tell you, you are not worthy." Charlie looked at Cynthia and sneered, "My father flew for the Wade family back then. In my opinion, even the head of the Wade family is more than enough. It's you. I really have to follow the rules of the big family and get married. His daughter is the water that was poured out. Now that you are married, you are no longer a member of the Wade family. Why are you pointing fingers at me in front of me?" The sentence that the married daughter is the water poured out is the sentence that Cynthia hates most in her life. Even if she married as a wife early on, she had been thinking about the Wade family's wealth. Now, after separating from her husband and severing her relations, she pinned her hopes for the future on the Wade family's fortune. However, the elders of the Wade family, Andrew, Chang Jiun, and old Chong Feng have always been hostile to Cynthia. They often said this in front of Cynthia, and reminded her overtly and secretly not to worry about Wade family assets, because she was married, is no longer the Wade family member, and is not worthy to inherit the Wade family's assets. Cynthia naturally refused to accept it 10,000. She felt that her husband's family was unreliable, the only thing she could rely on was Elder Wade. Therefore, in any case, she must please the old master, and let the old master give her a legacy that can make her life safe for life before death. This is also the goal of her hard work now. However, what she didn't expect was that Charlie, a kid who had been away from home for nearly 20 years, dared to say such things in front of her. It was like stepping on her tail and making her angry immediately. So, she gritted her teeth and glared at Charlie, and said angrily, "Charlie, I tell you, if you are more acquainted and follow the instructions of the Wade family will naturally not treat you badly in the future, and will let you live a life of food and clothing." After all, she changed her conversation, her voice increased a little, and her eyes were cracked threatening, "But if you don't know me, then I tell you, the Wade family can hold you up, and naturally they can also throw you down. Go down. At that time, the Emgrand Group and the 10 billion will leave you. After all, you will be beaten back to your original shape and become the stinky rag that is despised by everyone and even in the wife's family." Cynthia was out of control, her voice even screamed. In the whole Sky Garden, her angrily voice echoed. Isaac hurriedly evacuated all the service personnel, and walked out of the Sky Garden banquet hall and stood outside the door. At this time, even if she is slightly dissatisfied with them, it is possible that Cynthia's emotions will be further out of control. Seeing that Cynthia's expression had already taken on a strong resentment, Charlie smiled playfully, and asked her, "So cruel? Then I would like to ask, if I'm acquainted, what would the Wade family command me?" SDV Cynthia thought that her threat had softened Charlie, so she immediately sneered, "First divorced your wife, and then returned to the Wade family to wait for your grandfather's dispatch. Now Philip of the Gu family is unified. The Gu family's control over the entire Gu family has reached an unprecedented peak. His daughter has a marriage contract with you. If you marry his daughter, it will be of great help to the Wade family." After that, Cynthia said again, "Or you can try the eldest granddaughter of the Sua family, that is, the daughter of Xin. She is very favored in the Sua family. Her mother was one of your father's suitors back then. Maybe she will be willing to marry her daughter to you, and she will be even more helpful to the Wade family at that time. So, after you divorced that woman, first try to develop with the eldest granddaughter of the Sua family. If you can get her, you will get married to her. If you can't get her, you will fulfill the engagement with Philip's daughter." Charlie chuckled, "So the family wants me to sell for the Wade family?" Cynthia said coldly, "This is not a sell-off. After all, marriage is very common in the upper class. This is not only good for the Wade family, but also good for you." Charlie sneered, "Auntie, since marriage has so many benefits, why don't you just divorce, and then try to get together with Philip or Xin? If you have this, it is with them. You hook up with one of them, wouldn't it be a huge help to the Wade family?" When Cynthia heard this, she felt like she had been slapped repeatedly by Charlie. Then she realized that he seemed to be subdued, but it was actually to humiliate her. Thinking of this, she immediately became angered and gritted her teeth. "You beast! I am your aunt. How dare you insult me?" Charlie said coldly, "I insult you? I shame you. If you were a man, I would have beaten you 8 times." Cynthia almost fainted, clutching her chest with a hideous face. Charlie didn't bother to stay here at this time. He stood up and said to Cynthia disdainfully, "Go back and tell the old master, if he wants the return of the Emgrand Group and the 10 billion, I can return at any time." When he said this, his expression was stern and he shouted sharply, "But my parents' account, I will definitely settle it with him in the future. At that time, all the people who are responsible for this matter will have to pay me back with profit. No one can escape. Even him. No exception." You," Cynthia trembled angrily, and yelled at Charlie with her fingers pointing, "You fraudulent! You dare to be so disrespectful to your grandfather because you are the heir of the Wade family. How outrageous!" Charlie said coldly, "What if I disrespect him? If you are not satisfied, you can go back and complain to him." Cynthia gritted her teeth and said, "Okay. Every word you say today will be truthfully told to your grandpa. If you are beaten back to your original form, don't blame your aunt for not giving you a chance. Give me a chance? Charlie snorted, you don't deserve any chance at all. However, if I find out in the future and find that you are also involved in the death of my parents, then you won't ask me to give you a chance. It turned you back. It turned you back. Cynthia was already completely irritated by Charlie. She grabbed a beautiful empty wine glass on the table and slammed it on the ground, shouting hysterically, I will definitely make you regret it. Charlie nodded and sneered contemptuously, you can use whatever means you can, I'm waiting. After that, he walked toward the gate without looking back. Seeing Charlie's departure, Cynthia behind him couldn't help shouting angrily, Charlie! I haven't left yet, what qualifications do you have to leave first? I am your elder, your aunt. You dare to be so disrespectful to me, I must make you pay. Charlie ignored it. In his opinion, his aunt is completely an idiot spoiled by the family halo. She never forgets to hold his airs and arrogantly at all times. It is obviously the order of the old master to do business, but she only cares about her own air and face. Such a person, even in the Wade family, is difficult to respect. Therefore, Charlie didn't bother to waste time with her. After leaving the gate, Charlie left the hanging garden directly. Isaac hurriedly greeted him and said nervously, Master, why are you doing this? If Miss Cynthia goes to Master to file a complaint, then your situation will not be good. So what? Charlie snorted, don't think she is from the Wade family, but in fact she is just a dog of the old master. She wants to bite me, but also depends on what the old master means. If the old master wants to start with me, then let him do it. After that, Charlie said again, the reason why I only scolded her now, instead of hitting her or killing her, is because I was thinking that they still have a blood connection with me. If they do it themselves, then I will even have this point. The bloodline is ignored. No matter who belongs to the Wade family, if they dare to bark in front of me, I will directly destroy them. If anyone dares to do anything to me and the people around me, I will directly kill them. At this moment, Charlie's body was murderous. Isaac sighed helplessly. At this moment, what he was actually worried about was not what the Wade family would do to Charlie in the future, but worried. Once the Wade family became angry and angered Charlie, he was afraid that he would not let the Wade family go. In case it really started, Wade family might not be Charlie's opponent. He sent Charlie all the way to the door of Shangri-La, and respectfully said, Master, where are you going? I will drive you. Charlie waved his hand, no, you send me at this time, the Wade family will be aware of the clues. Go and see Cynthia, and by the way, see what she has planned next. Isaac nodded slightly, Master, then I will go and see your aunt first. Charlie reminded him, take a look at Cynthia's return plan to see when she leaves. Besides, I must be guarded against her going to see my wife, understand? Isaac suddenly shuddered and stood up straight and respectfully said, Master, don't worry, I understand. Charlie did not put Cynthia in his eyes, but he also worried that Cynthia would think of other ways to save the country. She wanted him to divorce Claire on her own initiative, and then return to Wade's house. He rejected her directly. Then, if she went to find his wife, it would be a bit tricky for him. After all, Claire still doesn't know his identity. And he didn't plan to let her know. At least, he didn't want his wife to know his identity before he found out the truth about his parents' death and successfully avenged his parents. After Charlie left, Isaac turned back to the hanging garden. At this time, Cynthia was already furious on the spot and her blood was boiling. The prepared Western dining table had already been lifted by her, and the ground was full of mess. Because there was a lot of broken glass ballast on the ground, the female foreman of Hanging Garden was afraid that Cynthia might accidentally injure herself with the glass ballast, so she hurried over with 2 waiters to clean it. Cynthia was full of sorrow and anger and had nowhere to vent. Seeing that the foreman came with 2 waiters, she was immediately furious. She went up and grabbed one of the girls. She raised her hand and pulled her face. While beating, she cursed and said in her mouth, "Did I let you come? Did I let you come?" The girl was slapped several times, crying and begging, "Miss you, calm down, I am afraid that you will be injured by the glass ballast, so I came quickly to clean the glass ballast." Cynthia's heart was still very angry, and even increased a bit of strength in her hands, and yelled, "Fraudulent thing! I let you out, you can come out, I don't let you out, I better not even see your." Seeing this, the foreman hurriedly stepped forward and begged, "Miss, don't be angry, this was my own opinion, so I ran into you." Cynthia observed angrily, kicked the foreman's stomach, and cursed coldly, "Things that don't have eyes. All 3 of you have been fired. Get out." The foreman was kicked by Cynthia and sat down on the ground. The ground was full of glass ballast, so she immediately felt a few pieces of glass ballast pierced into the flesh. However, at this moment, she did not care about the severe pain caused by the glass ballast. She was pale and clutching her belly, and said in pain, "My stomach hurts. Lily, please call me an ambulance." Lily was the other of the 2 waiters. She was not beaten by Cynthia because she was standing a little far away from her. As soon as she saw the foreman holding her stomach and her face in pain, she immediately asked with concern, "Sister Nan, are you okay? Hold on, I'll call 120. Cynthia looked at the foreman contemptuously, and said disgustedly, "What kind of pity do you pretend to be in front of me? Do you want me to lose money to you?" The girl who was dialing the phone suddenly rebuked, "Why are you like this? Sister Nan is 3 months pregnant. You are still kicking her belly. If the child has something long and too short, no matter how much money she has, it can't solve the problem." Cynthia couldn't help frowning, and said coldly, "What are you? Dare you to talk to me with this attitude?" The girl blurted out without showing weakness, "We are human. Not a thing. Even if we are not as high as you, our body is given by our parents. Why are you hitting us?" Cynthia is almost furious. She grew up so big, in addition to behaving like a good woman with her tail clipped in front of her father, no one had ever dared to disobey her and talk to her in such a tone. But here today, she has been confronted by Charlie and several waiters one after another, and she is naturally annoyed. At this moment, she completely ignored the fact that the foreman was pregnant, and took a step forward, grabbed her mobile phone from the girl who had smashed her into the hands of the girl who was waiting for the 120 sound station to answer, and slammed it directly on the ground. Immediately afterwards, she immediately raised her hand and slapped her face fiercely, and gritted her teeth and cursed, "Shame on her face, and dare to yell at me here, don't you know who I am?" As she was talking, Isaac stepped forward, and when he saw this, he hurriedly stepped forward and asked, "Miss, what's the matter with you?" Seeing Isaac's arrival, Cynthia said coldly, "Okay, you are here just right. I ask you, how do you manage this group of people under your hands? Even they dare to stand in front of me." When Isaac saw that all three of his employees had been beaten, he didn't need to ask them to know that Cynthia must have vented her anger towards Charlie on them, so he immediately said respectfully, "Miss, don't worry, these three do not have long eyes. I must deal with the person seriously. Don't get angry, I will send you back to your room to rest first." Cynthia was also suffocated with anger, and looked at Isaac and said coldly, "Completely block these three pieces for me." After that, she stretched out her hand and slapped Lily's face again, before turning around and leaving. As soon as Cynthia left, Isaac hurriedly asked the three employees, "What happened just now?" Lily choked and said, "Mr. Isaac, Miss Cynthia was angry and raised the table. Sister Nan took us over to clean the glass ballast. As a result, Miss Cynthia suddenly acted on us and kicked Sister Nan in the stomach. Sister Nan is pregnant. She is pregnant, I wanted to call an ambulance, and the lady smashed my phone." Sister Nan, who was sitting on the ground with a painful face, said, "Mr. Isaac, I am to blame for this. You must not get angry. If the company wants to punish, please punish me alone." Isaac sighed and said, "I blame myself for this. I didn't protect you. I will arrange for someone to take you to the hospital immediately. In addition, I will give you at least 1 month's vacation and give you a compensation of 200,000 each." After finishing speaking, he looked at the supervisor sitting on the ground and said seriously, "Sister Nan, I will contact the best gynecologist in Oris Hill to help you with the baby, and make sure that the child is fine at all costs. If the child can be saved, I will make up for your 200,000 fetal expenses, if can't keep it, I will make up for you 500,000, and then give you 1 year of paid leave, and go back to take a good rest, and actively prepare for pregnancy." When Isaac said so, everyone was immediately relieved. They also worried that Isaac would obey Cynthia's request and punish them severely. Unexpectedly, it is really rare for Isaac to take care of them so much. Seeing the three women crying and thanking him one after another, Isaac couldn't help persuading them, so he greeted the security team and rushed them to the hospital. After all three of them were sent to the hospital, he sighed sadly in the office alone, "Hey, I really don't know how long Cynthia, the aunt, will be tossing in Oris Hill, let alone what she will do too much. It's a pity that she is a member of the Wade family after all. No matter what, I can't suppress her at all. If she really wants to cause trouble in Oris Hill, I have nothing to do. It seems that I can only hope for her immediate return." Charlie didn't pay attention to his aunt, let alone take it to heart. After returning home, he began to prepare for the new year with his family. Since it was the first spring festival in the Thompson Villa, the family of four paid great attention to the sense of ceremony of the spring festival this year. Claire bought a lot of decorative window grills, stickers, red lanterns, and other accessories, intending to make her home more festive. Although Elaine is lazy, she has a strong vanity. She also wants to set out her home as soon as possible, and then take more photos to show off in her circle of friends, so she is busy with Claire. After Charlie came back, he joined them. Claire took out a bunch of beautifully made red lanterns from the big carton that she bought online, and said to Elaine, "Mom, I want to decorate both the third and second floor terraces. Hang this on the railings of the terrace. Plant red lanterns and turn them on after dark, the effect must be particularly good." Elaine agreed without hesitation, "Okay. New Year, just have to be a little festive, I'll go hang up later." Claire hurriedly said, "Mom, I have another business, I want to discuss it with you." Elaine smiled and said, "Okay. Just talk about it." Claire said embarrassingly, "You have been hanging a lot of green hats on the terrace on the third floor. This is New Year. It is really inappropriate to hang so many green hats, so let's remove the hats." "Right." When Elaine heard these words, she immediately blurted out without hesitation, "So how do you do it? Those green hats are all prepared for the old master Noah, so that after he gets up every day, he opens his eyes and sees this. He piled up green hats, and then was gloomy all day. If I take them away, wouldn't it be a waste of money for him?" Claire helplessly said, "Mom, every family is full of lights and festivities for the celebration of the new year. If we still have so many green hats, it will not look good at that time. That won't work." Elaine said stubbornly, "Those green hats are my magic weapon against the Wilson family. I just want them to forcibly remember every day that Horia was pregnant outside with wild species." Elaine suddenly remembered something at this time, and said with a smile, "Hey! I will hang these lanterns and the green hats one by one in a while. When the lanterns are turned on, the red lanterns and the green hats are absolutely conspicuous. It will definitely anger the Wilson family." Claire persuaded, "Mom, those who celebrate the new year have to be forgiving and forgetting of others' past deeds." Elaine snorted coldly, "You don't come to persuade me. It's useless to persuade me. Don't you know that your grandmother broke my leg? And my 2 front teeth are also lost thanks to her. I will never forgive her for this." Seeing her mother's face full of determination, Claire felt a burst of powerlessness. It seems that there is no possibility to persuade the mother to change her mind. At this time, Elaine held a bunch of red lanterns by herself, and walked towards the elevator, and said as she walked, "I'm going to hang up the lanterns and hang them with the bunch of green hats." After half an hour, under the organization of Mrs. Wilson, the Wilson family was also lighting up the lights in their villa, so it was so lively. The Wilson family is not what it used to be. The Wilson Group had previously received Regner's investment, and after repaying all the debts, it took another small project given by Regner. Now it has turned a profit. Mrs. Wilson also took back the villa, antiques, and calligraphy and painting that had been seized by the bank before. Because Regner promised to lend the Thompson first-class luxury villa to their family for 10 years, Mrs. Wilson simply rented out the old villa and could earn some rent back. The company has survived enough again, and all the previous assets have returned to her own hands. The current Mrs. Wilson is very high-spirited. Noah's family knew that the happy life in the future depended almost entirely on the old lady, so they always treated her as the Empress Dowager Cixi. Noah is also proud of the recent spring breeze. The Wilson group has come back to life. He and Harold and Wendy are in important positions in the group. Harold and Wendy are reliving the lives of the rich second generation, and of course they are also full of joy. Horia was the only one in the family who had the worst. No one gave her a good face all day long. Noah and Mrs. Wilson hated her deeply, but because of Regner, they couldn't drive her away, so they regarded her as a thorn in the eye. Harold and Wendy also felt that their mother was too embarrassed to have been pregnant with wild species and contracted S3 sexually transmitted diseases, so they always ignored her every day. Being rejected by the whole family made Horia very hurt. Especially seeing the four people smiling every day, but she can only hold back at home, sweeping, cooking, and washing clothes. Like a servant who doesn't need money, she feels even more uncomfortable. At this moment, seeing that they were all preparing various decorations for the new year, Horia stepped forward, licking her face and said flatly, "Oh, Mom, I will help. You forgot that we lived in the past. When I was in the old villa, the decorations and arrangements of the house were all made by me as soon as the Chinese New Year came." Mrs. Wilson glared at her, and said in disgust, "What's the matter with you? Hurry up and clean the windows. I tell you, as soon as today is over, there will be 3 days before the new year. You must have all windows in the villa all spotless." When the old lady said that she asked her to clean the windows of the entire villa, Horia suddenly collapsed. She couldn't help but blurt out, "Mom! Our villa is so large, with so many rooms, so many windows, I can't finish it even after the first month of the year." Mrs. Wilson said with a sneer, "You still want to delay the first month? I tell you, before New Year's Eve you must have cleaned all the windows of the whole family. I will drive you to the yard for New Year's Eve dinner." As soon as Horia heard this, how angry the whole person was. If it weren't for Noah, Harold, and Wendy still here, she would have liked to rush over now, kick the old lady to the ground with one foot, and then ride on her stomach and slam her old face. It is a pity that she has no chance to start at all. Horia was extremely helpless. Even if there were 10,000 dissatisfaction in her heart, she could only swallow it all in her stomach, and said with annoyance, "Okay mother, I know, I will try my best to wipe." Mrs. Wilson coldly snorted, "Forget your acquaintance. She was originally a woman who corrupted her family style. If she is not honest and obedient, even Regner can't save you." Faced with the arrogance of Mrs. Wilson, Horia felt so annoyed. But at this time, she didn't dare to say a rebuttal. She could only nod and say with humility, "Mom, you are right, I must listen to you." Noah said at this time, "Mom, I'll go upstairs and hang some decorations." Mrs. Wilson hummed and said to Horia, "You go to clean the windows now, hurry." Horia had no choice but to do it. Noah went upstairs and came to his room. He was about to put a few grills on the window. He suddenly saw that a row of red lanterns lit up on Elaine's balcony opposite their house. What is disgusting is that these glowing red lanterns are all next to all kinds of green hats, and the red light is set off on the green hats, emitting a strange color, which makes people feel annoyed to watch. Noah was furious immediately. He couldn't help cursing, "This Elaine is too much," and she gave a green hat with a red lantern. Isn't this the old saying, red and green race T. It's so mad. I'm dead. Thinking of Elaine not letting himself live during the new year, Noah felt uncomfortable, and gritting his teeth came downstairs, and said to Harold, who was putting window grills in the living room, "Harold, you come with me. Let's go find that Elaine." Mrs. Wilson frowned and asked, "What are you going to do to Elaine at this time?" Noah scolded angrily, "Mom, that stinky Elaine is really deceiving people. She hung so many green hats on the balcony, and it's fine after hanging them for so long. Now they have one next to each green hat. The big red lantern, this is the Chinese New Year and wants me to die. I have to find her to settle the accounts." The Mrs. Wilson shouted sharply, "You stop. Go to Elaine to settle the account. Can you two beat Charlie? Do you two want to spend the new year in the hospital?" Noah, who was still aggressive just now, was immediately dumb. Charlie's strength is very abnormal. If he is at home, finding his door with his son is equivalent to sending him to death. Thinking of this, he couldn't help gritting his teeth. "Mom, I don't need to trouble her today, but in any case, I can't let Elaine wear those green hats for the new year." Mrs. Wilson said disdainfully, "If she likes to hang on, let her hang on. Now for our family, what counts for the face? Money is the most real thing." Noah said angrily, "Then I can't bear Elaine fraudulent forever, right? When is this the stop?" Harold said with a black face at this time, "Dad, didn't you always say that you want to find a chance to engage in a wave of Elaine? If you want me to say, we want to do it as soon as possible. It's best to do it before the new year. Let Charlie's family have a miserable year. If this happens, Mr. Regner will also be able to explain it. Otherwise, we will never start with their family. Mr. Regner will soon lose patience with us." Noah's expression froze, and he blurted out, "Yes. Stinky Elaine had a plaster on her leg before, and she stayed at home all day long and didn't go out. We didn't have a chance to fix her, but I think she seems to have the plaster removed now. Now, she has to prepare for the new year in the next 2 days. In my opinion, Elaine will definitely go out. It is better to find a chance to provoke her and let her learn a lot." After that, he looked at Mrs. Wilson again and asked, "Mom, what do you think?" Mrs. Wilson pondered for a moment, and nodded, "We really have to teach Elaine a lesson. At least we have to cause a little trouble for Charlie's family, otherwise Regner is not going to feel comfortable." Later, Mrs. Wilson remembered something and said excitedly, "Regner will just come to Oris Hill tomorrow to inspect a few projects. It is estimated that he will spend the night in Oris Hill." When Noah heard this, he quickly agreed, "Mom, isn't this a good opportunity to give back to Mr. Regner? Why did he let us live in this villa and return it to our Wilson group to invest? To put it bluntly, not just to let us be under the nose of Charlie's family and disgust them? If we take the money and never do anything, if Mr. Regner comes to blame someday, we'll be in bad luck." Mrs. Wilson hummed, and said, "If you do it often, let you figure out how to do this. I only ask for one thing. Don't kill anyone, otherwise Regner may not be able to keep us." Noah nodded and sneered, "Don't worry, Mom, I planned it a long time ago. I'm going to tie Elaine and take some unsightly photos of her. It's best to find someone to get her pregnant and let that family feel the shame." Mrs. Wilson frowned, and said, "Noah, I have no objection if you find someone to do it, but you should never do it yourself." Noah nodded and said, "Don't worry, Mom, I know it." Harold on the side hurriedly asked, "Dad, are you planning to start tomorrow?" "Yes." Noah grinned and said, "Tie her up tomorrow, and then wait for a show for President Wu tonight." Harold said hurriedly, "Dad, I used to know some friends, they were pretty reliable, and I can ask them to help." Noah smiled and said, "Okay. You go find a few young and strong people, and then find a van. I have a buddy who has a vacant warehouse in the suburbs, and then I will get Elaine there." Wendy on the side asked, "Dad, what if Elaine doesn't go out tomorrow?" Harold also nodded and said, "Yes, Dad, what if Elaine doesn't go out?" Noah said, "If Elaine doesn't go out, let's create an opportunity for her to go out. I have been observing her daily trajectory these days. Don't worry, I have a way to get her out of home by herself." Early the next morning, Claire and Jacob left home early and went to work on their own affairs. Claire's studio is closed according to the national legal holidays. It will be closed on New Year's Eve and will be closed for a total of 7 days until the 6th day of the new year. As for Jacob's Calligraphy and Painting Association, it is a hobby group in itself, so there is no such thing as a holiday, it depends on everyone's mood. And Jacob didn't deal with Elaine at home on weekdays, so he couldn't wait to be in the Calligraphy and Painting Association on the first day of the new year. Elaine didn't have much entertainment, and prepared the ingredients for the New Year's Eve dinner alone at home. As for Charlie, after getting up early in the morning, he checked the operation report of JX Pharmaceutical from Liang on his mobile phone. At present, several production lines of Kobayashi Pharmaceutical in Japan have begun to smoothly switch to JX Vicin, and a large amount of inventory has been in place within a period of time. Charlie plans to sell JX Vicin on the first day of the Lunar New Year in Japan. At that time, all major Japanese TV stations will also broadcast Sarah's endorsement of JX Vicin ads. As one of the most well-known actresses in Asia, Sarah's influence in Japan cannot be underestimated. In addition, the efficacy of JX Vicin is far ahead of similar competitors, so Charlie believes that it will be a hit in Japan. When Elaine downstairs was preparing the ingredients, the doorbell rang. She stepped out of the yard, saw a courier guy standing outside the door, and opened the yard door directly. The courier brother asked her, "Is this Ms. Elaine's house?" Elaine nodded, "I am, what's the matter?" The little brother handed a small package to her and said, "Hello Ms. Elaine, this is your City Express, please sign for it. Sent to me." At this time, Elaine was a little surprised. She didn't do much online shopping, and she didn't buy anything online recently. Why does she have her own City Express delivery? So, after she signed for the courier, she opened it suspiciously. After unpacking, she found that the express included it was a trial package of high-end body care essential oils, as well as a very beautifully made card and a printed letter. She opened the letter and read all the words on the letter. "Hello, distinguished guest, congratulations on your acquisition of the whole body spa treatment package of Litzy High-End Beauty and Health Club worth 8,888. With the package card, you can visit the store at any time. Enjoy free full spa services, no appointment required. After reading these, Elaine said with joy, "Oh, I'm going. Free body spa treatment. Is there such a good thing?" The thought of lying on the beauty bed in the beauty salon and enjoying the meticulous massage by the masseur makes Elaine feel itchy all over. She could not help but secretly said, "I have been raising legs at home some time ago. I haven't enjoyed a high-end spa for a long time. I didn't expect that a free high-end spa would suddenly hit me. Maybe someone made a mistake. It's sent to me. If I don't hurry to experience it, if someone catches it back, wouldn't I be a big loser?" Thinking of this, Elaine immediately put the package card into her pocket and ran into the house excitedly, went straight to her room on the third floor, changed clothes for going out, and planned to go out and make the spa immediately. Thinking of Charlie before going downstairs, she went to the door of Charlie and Claire's room on the second floor, knocked gently on the door, and asked with a smile, "Good son-in-law, have you gotten up yet?" Charlie got up and opened the door and asked, "Mom, are you okay?" Elaine smiled embarrassedly, "Well, Mom is going out for something. The breakfast is ready and it's in the kitchen. It's still hot. Go down and eat while it's hot." Charlie nodded and said, "Okay Mom, go ahead if you have anything." Elaine hurriedly smiled and said, "Okay, okay. Then Mom will go out first. If you have anything to do, call Mom." "It is okay." Charlie didn't think too much. After all, Elaine was also an adult, and it was normal to go out. Noah had been on the terrace of his room at this time, staring closely at the door of Charlie's house. Seeing Elaine went out in a hurry, a sneer was wiped from the corner of his mouth. Afterwards, he walked downstairs quickly and said to Harold, "Harold, Elaine is out. How are your friends preparing?" Harold smiled and said, "Dad, don't worry if I do the job, I'm all ready, and I'm sure that Elaine will never return." Noah said hurriedly, "Come here, you will review the overall plan with me, and I will see if there are any omissions." Wendy and Mrs. Wilson also leaned in, waiting for Harold's text with a look of expectation. Harold said triumphantly, "First of all, the beauty card sent to Elaine by the same city courier just now, isn't that beauty salon called Litzy Beauty Health Club? The owner of this beauty club is a former friend of mine. He is now having difficulties in business and has always wanted to transfer the beauty salon, but the economic situation is not good recently, so he has not been able to transfer." Noah waved his hand, "Talk about the important point." Harold said hurriedly, "Don't worry, Dad. I have to explain the whole plan to you." Noah nodded, "Yes, you say." Harold then continued, "My friend can't make it anymore now, so I just want to take advantage of the fact that the New Year's members have a lot of things at home and can't take care of them to do beauty, and take advantage of the opportunity to roll the money away. I told him, as long as he cooperates. Well, I will give him 200,000 for this scene. He wanted to run away anyway, so he was naturally willing to make more money before running away." Wendy on the side hurriedly asked, "Brother, did you intend to tie Elaine to the beauty salon when you fudged her?" "Yes." Harold nodded and said, "That beauty salon has a back door. When Elaine goes to the spa, I will arrange for a masseur to put sleeping pills in her water. When she passes out, we drive to the beauty salon. At the back door of the courtyard, she is directly tied up and taken away from the back door, absolutely unaware of it. Horia heard this and hurriedly asked, Harold, what do you plan to do with Elaine after torturing her? Harold said, I haven't thought about this yet, what do you think? Horia immediately gritted her teeth and said, find a black coal mine and send her to dig coal too. Harold said embarrassingly, don't know anyone who runs a black coal kiln either. Wendy blurted out, then send her to Africa to grow sugarcane. I heard that there are many illegal immigrants there, and they can only bury their heads in the sugarcane fields and chop sugarcane for the rest of their lives, and they cannot live out of the African continent. Harold coughed and said awkwardly, Wendy, what you said is illegal immigration, how can I have that relationship? Horia was anxious and blurted out, Harold, are you planning to find someone to take Elaine after sleeping, take pictures, and then let her go? This is too cheap for her, right? Although Noah was very disgusted with Horia, when he heard this, he couldn't help but nodded in agreement, yes. I just found someone to SL3EP with Elaine, maybe he even let Elaine take advantage. Mrs. Wilson thought for a moment, and said, we are helping Mr. Regner with Elaine. Or else you call him and ask him to see if he has any friends who run black coal kilns. Let him arrange for her to dig coal. Regner's life has been miserable recently. The eldest son Roger is still recovering from his injuries at home, and the second son Wuki's condition has not improved. He has basically given up treatment. In addition, Regner's wife Yakina has divorced him recently. The main reason for the divorce was the death of Nanshan and his wife Kaylee. Yakina felt that Regner didn't protect her brother, nor did he find out who killed her brother. In Yakina's eyes, what was even more exaggerated was that instead of helping her younger brother and avenge him, he was at home every day, scolding his dead brother bloody. Of course Regner hates Nanshan crazy. In his opinion, it was the bastard who completely ruined the reputation of the Wu family, so that the market value of the Wu family was directly cut down because of its reputation. It was originally the first family in Oris Hill, but now, it can't even make the top 10 in Oris Hill. What made him a little unacceptable was that his wife was so ignorant to praise. He hadn't blamed her for being too doting on her younger brother, causing the Wu family to be implicated, but she blamed him on the contrary. It is really unreasonable. Because of this, the two of them simply fell into a long cold war. Originally, Regner spoiled his wife very much, but now he doesn't even bother to care about her, and put all his thoughts into his career. Now he has only one thought in his mind, which is to do everything possible to make the Wu family rise again. At just this time, he was following up on a real estate project in Oris Hill, so early this morning, he came to Oris Hill from Suzhou for inspection. Just when he first arrived at the project site, he received a call from Noah. On the phone, Noah said flatly, "Hello, Mr. Regner. I'm Noah, we haven't seen you in a long time." Regner said coldly, "Noah, you call me, what's the matter?" Noah hurriedly smiled and said, "Mr. Regner, this is the case. Do you know that the new year is coming? Our family wondered, saying that nothing will let Charlie's family have a stable year, so we plan to confront Wade first today. His mother-in-law, Elaine, decided to find someone to give it to her first, and then take some photos and videos and upload them to the internet, so that Charlie's family will be disgraced. Regner suddenly became interested, and his voice improved a little. Hey? Noah, I heard that right, did your family finally dare to do something with Charlie? Noah said embarrassingly, Mr. Regner, I really didn't think of a plan before, so I haven't moved, but you can rest assured. This time we must do this thing beautifully. With that said, Noah said with a bit of bitterness, Charlie is in Oris Hill. I heard that there seems to be a nickname called Real Dragon in the world. I want to see if his mother-in-law lets people play, what he is in this world after that. Can the true dragon's face hang on it? When Regner heard this, he smiled and said, Not bad, not bad. Do this thing well, I will not treat you badly. Noah was overjoyed, and he was too busy to ask, By the way, Mr. Regner, I called you. I actually wanted to ask you if you know the little boss who runs the Black Coal Kill. If you know him, that's really great. After I find someone to take care of Elaine, I will send her directly to the black coal mine. Regner thought for a while and said, There are not many coal mines in the south, so I really don't know anyone who runs black coal mines. Speaking of this, he suddenly remembered something, and said with a smile, But I do have a kid who runs a brick factory at home. The work in the brick factory is not easy compared to the black coal kill. You can take that woman sent there as a coolie. Noah immediately smiled and said, Oh, Mr. Regner, this is really great. A peace woman like this should spend life in the black brick factory. After speaking, he hurriedly asked, Mr. Regner, do you think it is convenient for you to tell me the address of your friend? After I have taken care of Elaine, I will send her directly. Don't worry. Regner sneered, I have a deep hatred for Charlie. Now I just arrived in Oris Hill. There is no reason to miss such an enjoyable thing. You tie her up first, and then give me an address. I will come over. Witness it with my own eyes. Noah hurriedly agreed, Mr. Regner, don't worry, I must have done this properly, and I will call and let you witness it in person. Regner hummed, and said with a smile, Okay, I have something to work on. Call me after you finish it. Okay, Mr. Regner. As soon as Noah hung up the phone, he immediately couldn't help but said to the family excitedly, Mr. Regner said, he has a friend who runs a brick factory. When we tie Elaine, we will let someone do it as planned. After that, she will be immediately sent to the brick factory to let her work hard in the brick factory for the rest of her life. When Horia heard this, she felt very unbalanced in her heart. She said angrily, I went to the black coal kill at the time. How can Horia go to the brick factory? This is too cheap for her. Noah glared at her dryly, and blurted out, You know what a SHT? The brick factory is much more bitter than the black coal kill. Although the black coal kill is dirty and exhausting, it is warm in the winter and cool in the summer. The brick factory is different. The fire burns bricks in all seasons, and the people alone can't stand the heat. Moreover, the work of moving bricks is no easier than digging coal. Generally speaking, people in brick factories suffer more than black coal kills. Horia felt a little more comfortable. However, she still had one more question to ask, but she swallowed it again. So she can only murmur in heart, Hey, don't know if Elaine will meet a Squinta supervisor after being sent to the brick factory. If she can meet, that would be great, and it's better to let her get sick and get pregnant. At this moment, the presidential suite of Shangri-La Hotel. Cynthia was making a short report to Zhongchuan over the phone. On the phone, she described Charlie with perverted personality, hot temper, low quality, and unremarkable. She also always emphasized to Zhongchuan, "Dad, Charlie, this kid has not received any education for so many years and has very low quality. You can't let him come back to Wade's house, otherwise, our Wade's face will be lost by him." Zhongchuan listened to her little report of adding fuel and jealousy, and said lightly, "Cynthia, I always thought you were very smart. I didn't expect to be so easily influenced by emotions. You really disappointed me." Cynthia suddenly became nervous when she heard this, and blurted out, "Dad, where am I not doing well enough?" Zhongchuan said coldly, "You still don't understand, why do I want Charlie to come back?" Cynthia said embarrassingly, "Dad, I really don't understand too much. If you want me to say that Charlie's quality is so low, not only can we not let him come back, but we have to draw a clear line with him." Zhongchuan snorted and said, "What I want now is to let any of my grandsons marry Ziyu from the Sui family, or to marry Sarah from the Gu family. Now it seems that only Charlie has the greatest chance. How can that be possible?" Cynthia blurted out, "Dad, you haven't seen Charlie for many years, so you think of him too well. Let me tell you the truth. Charlie is now a small gangster in a remote country. Whether it's Ziyu or Sarah, they are all East Cliff's famous ladies of the sky, how can they be worthy of him?" Zhongchuan said coldly, "I saw Philip at the Chamber of Commerce yesterday, and I asked him if he still remembers Charlie's engagement with his daughter. He said to me on the spot, as long as he can find Charlie, he must not hesitate. Let his daughter marry him." In addition, Philip also said that no matter what Charlie is now, even if he is begging along the street, he is also the future son of the Gu family. Their family has long reached a consensus on this matter. Cynthia was stunned. "What age is this? Is Philip crazy?" Zhongchuan said in a harsh tone, "I don't want to care if Philip is crazy or not, don't worry about it. Your task now is to do everything possible to make Charlie promise to come back for the new year." Cynthia was so helpless that she had no choice but to say angrily, "Dad, tell you the truth, Charlie was too much yesterday, so I didn't control my emotions yesterday. I had a big fight with him. He didn't eat anything, so he just waved away, fraudulent." Zhongchuan yelled, "Don't think don't know you. With your acting style, it's not good to say who is too much." After that, Zhongchuan said again, "I don't care about anything else, you must bring Charlie back to me. If he doesn't want to return, then you can think of something else." Cynthia hurriedly asked, "Other methods? What else?" Zhongchuan said, "Doesn't he have a wife in Oris Hill? Can you find a way to get in touch with his wife or his father-in-law?" Cynthia said immediately, "Then I will go to see his wife, give her some money, and let her divorce Charlie." Zhongchuan said, "Don't go to his wife, you can make a fuss from his mother-in-law first. I heard that his mother-in-law is very greedy for money and is a monsetter who eats money." Cynthia quickly said, "Dad, then I will try to find a breakthrough from his mother-in-law." "Yet," Zhongchuan reminded, after you meet his mother-in-law, don't reveal your true identity, otherwise, if you let that kind of evil people know that Charlie is a member of our East Cliff Wade family, you will be killed. She won't let her daughter divorce Charlie either. Okay, Dad. I see. Cynthia quickly agreed, and then immediately took out the phone, called the bodyguard who brought Oris Hill this time, and ordered, "Check for me where Charlie's mother-in-law is, I want to see her." Elaine rushed to take a taxi to the beauty club on the package card. When she came in and showed the package card, she was somewhat guilty, for fear that others might make a mistake, or the card itself could not be used. But what she didn't expect was that the clerk said to her very politely, "Hello, madam. Your package card can be used at any time and no appointment is required. Do you want to experience it now?" When Elaine heard this, she said excitedly, "Of course. I've been taking a taxi from a long distance, can't I just come and ask you? Hurry up and arrange a massager for me, I will have a good experience now." The clerk nodded and said respectfully, "Madam, our full-body spa here is for bathing first. I will take you to bathe and change clothes first, and then arrange a massager to do the spa for you." Elaine was very happy. When she had money in her hands, she did go to beauty salons or beauty clubs to do facial or spa treatments. Therefore, she knows the process of a high-end spa in a beauty salon. The first thing she must do is to soak in a flower petal milk bath, then put on the disposable under provided by the beauty club, and receive a full-body massage from a massager. Elaine happily followed the clerk to the bathroom and found that a tank of water had been placed here, with milk, flower petals and bath salt added to the water, and immediately smiled and said, "Oh, your service is really in place. Come on, put the water away first." The clerk thought that Elaine had noticed the abnormality, and hurriedly said, This is the case. We originally had a customer who made an appointment to come to the spa. The water for our bath is ready, and she said that we can't do anything temporarily, so you can just pick a ready-made one." Elaine smiled and said, "Oh, what a coincidence, it seems that God just wants to make up for me and let me enjoy it." After speaking, she waved to the clerk and said, "Okay, you can go out. I will take a bath by myself and let the massager prepare to wait for me." "Okay, madam." After the clerk went out, he immediately ran to report to the boss. When the boss heard that Elaine was coming, he quickly called Harold and said to him, "Harold, people have already come and are taking a bath. When will you come?" Harold said excitedly, "Great. Old Betrayal, you must stabilize her for me, don't expose any flaws, I am ready to come over." The owner of the beauty salon laughed and said, "Harold, who is my brother, since I have promised you, I will definitely do this thing beautifully." "Good." Harold smiled and said, "Wait for half an hour." After finishing speaking, Harold said again, "Brother Betrayal, your shop will not do business with other customers in the morning, so as to avoid accidents." "Don't worry, I won't do other business in the morning, just pick up your order." Just as Elaine was lying in the bathtub soaking, a Rolls-Royce stopped at the door of this beauty salon. A tall bodyguard walked out of the co-pilot. After getting out of the car, he immediately opened the rear door. Immediately afterwards, Cynthia, dressed in gorgeous clothes, stepped down. She looked at the door face of this beauty salon, and said contemptuously, "What a broken beauty salon, looking at it, it's not up to the standard." In fact, the decoration of this beauty salon is pretty good. Although it is not top-notch, it is not affordable for ordinary housewives in Oris Hill. However, for the top rich second generation like Cynthia, it is really too much to be on the table. The money she paid for a treatment at a top beauty salon is enough to buy this beauty salon. The bodyguard whispered from the side, "Miss, the woman you are looking for is doing beauty treatment here, just came in 10 minutes ago." Cynthia nodded, and said in disgust, "Follow me in." "Okay." The bodyguard took the lead and reached out and pushed open the door of this beauty salon. The clerk rushed over and said apologetically, "I'm sorry, we won't receive guests in the morning." Cynthia frowned, "Won't receive guests? A woman named Elaine, didn't she just come to your store for a spa? Why did it become unwelcome when it came to me?" The clerk was questioned by Cynthia, and she didn't know how to reply. She knew very well in her heart that the boss meant that she would never treat guests this morning, so she couldn't let anyone in. So she hurriedly said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, we really don't treat guests in the morning. Ms. Elaine made an appointment in advance, so I'm sorry." Cynthia almost exploded in anger. She condescended to come to this kind of shabby beauty salon. It is like a phoenix coming to the chicken coop. Didn't expect that this chicken coop would not let her enter? She immediately furiously said, "Don't let me in, right? Believe it or not, you won't have to do this in the future." The clerk suddenly didn't know what to do. She could also see that Cynthia's dressing was no ordinary person at first glance. If she really angered her, it might cause trouble. So she could only say respectfully, "Sorry, ma'am, wait a moment, I will ask our boss for instructions." Cynthia waved her hand in disgust, "Move faster, I have very limited patience." The clerk hurried to the boss's office. The boss was already in his office at this time, picking up valuable items. He intends to help Harold this time. After earning Harold's 200,000, he will immediately prepare to run away and vacate the shop tonight. If this is the case, when members of the shop arrive tomorrow, they will find the courtyard is empty. This is also the usual routine for most gyms and beauty salons to run away, taking advantage of people's unprepared feet to apply oil, so that all members who have been fooled into applying for a stored value card are caught off guard. The clerk entered the office and hurriedly said, "Boss, there is another woman outside. She has to come in. I can't stop her, go and see." When the boss heard this, he frowned and asked, "What woman? Didn't you tell her not to treat guests in the morning?" "Said it." The clerk said aggrievedly, "I told her several times, but she insisted that the guest named Elaine came in, why can't she enter?" The boss suddenly became nervous, "Does she know Elaine?" "I do not know either." The boss thought for a moment, and said, "Okay, I'll deal with her and see what she wants to do." After speaking, he got up and came out of the office, all the way to the front desk. Seeing Cynthia, the boss also saw that this woman should have a lot of background, and he was even more nervous. So he hurriedly stepped forward and asked, "Hello ma'am, don't know what your needs are?" Cynthia said coldly, "Your store is open, why don't you let people in?" What do you mean by not serving guests in the morning? The boss chuckled and hurriedly said, It's true that we have guests booked a full set of care in the morning, so it is not convenient to treat guests again. If you come in the afternoon or tomorrow, I will arrange the best massager to serve you. Cynthia said disdainfully, Stop this set with me, I didn't come to your ruined place to consume. The boss frowned, If you don't come to consume, what are you doing here? Cynthia said, I'm here to find Elaine, who just came to your place for care. I have something to talk to her in private. As soon as the boss heard that she was not for consumption, he darkened his face and said annoyedly, If you are not for consumption, then please go out. If you are looking for someone to discuss matters, you must find another place. I don't provide such services. Cynthia winked at the bodyguard, and the bodyguard immediately took out 50,000 in cash from his small suitcase and patted it on the counter. When the boss saw the money, his attitude became flattering again, and he smiled and asked, Ma'am, what service do you want me to provide you with? Cynthia said coldly, Take me to see Elaine. I want to chat with Elaine in private. It won't be too long, at most half an hour. During this half an hour, no one is allowed to bother me. This 50,000 is your reward, do you understand? When the boss heard this, he thought to himself, Harold asked me to give that Elaine some sleeping pills. After she is asleep, Harold would take her away secretly. Now he has killed the eldest sister halfway and has to talk to Elaine. It sounds like a good deal for an hour, and then give 50,000. As long as he let Harold wait for half an hour, wait for the older sister to talk to Elaine and leave, then give Elaine sleeping pills? Thinking of this, he immediately agreed with a smile, It's easy to talk about. Isn't it half an hour of private time? No problem, Ms. Elaine is taking a bath, you can wait in the spa room first. Cynthia nodded and said to the bodyguard, Come with me. Hey! The boss said hurriedly, We are a female-only club. Members wear very casually here, and sometimes they don't even wear clothes. Even my boss can't enter the private service area for members. You can't take this gentleman inside. Cynthia didn't think that an ordinary beauty salon would be dangerous, so she said to the bodyguard, You are waiting outside. The bodyguard nodded slightly. Today, Cynthia's whereabouts were made on a temporary basis, and there was no suspicious person following along the way, so in this case, there was basically no possibility of encountering danger, so she didn't care too much. The bodyguard waited at the door, and Cynthia said to the boss, Can you take me in now? The boss smiled and hurriedly said, Let our clerk take you in. I can't get in either. Good. Cynthia nodded, and followed the clerk into the beauty salon. The apartment of this beauty salon is relatively deep, with the front desk and lobby outside, and then the bathing place through the promenade, and then the spa room is going deeper. The reason why the spa room is placed in the deepest part is mainly that the guests who come to the spa for complete relaxation and are very resistant to noise. If it is too close to the outside and close to the road, the vibration and horn sound of passing cars will be very obvious. After Cynthia followed the clerk through the deep corridor, she came to one of the spa rooms. The clerk respectfully said to her, Hello, madam, please wait here for a while, and I will bring her here after Ms. Elaine comes out. Cynthia gave a hum, took out 10,000 in cash from her limited Hermes backpack, handed it to her, and exhorted, "Don't tell Elaine I'll wait for her here, just bring her in, understand?" The clerk happily accepted the 10,000, and said excitedly, "Don't worry, I won't say it yet." Cynthia nodded, "You go out first." "Okay, lady." After the clerk went out, Cynthia frowned and looked at the environment in the room, frowning in disgust. She took out a check written a long time ago from her bag. The amount on the check was 1 billion, which she planned to use to buy Elaine. However, the more she looked at the low-end environment of this beauty salon, the more she sighed in her heart. This Elaine would actually come to this place to do a spa. She must be a bun who has never seen money. Give her 1 billion. It is too much. Thinking of this, Cynthia stuffed the 1 billion check back into her wallet. She felt that if she wanted to buy a cheap woman like Elaine, 1 billion would be taken advantage of, and 1 billion was a lot. As a result, she took out the checkbook again and temporarily wrote a check for 100 million. She planned to take this $100 million check directly in a while to entice Elaine to go home and force her daughter to divorce Charlie. In this way, her mission to Oris Hill this time would be half completed. After writing a check for 100 million, she took out a Hermes silk scarf from her bag and placed it on the sofa before sitting down. At this time, Elaine was still soaking in the bathtub. In fact, she had washed it a long time ago, and the reason why she still didn't want to soak it out was mainly because she felt that the milk petal bath should have a good moisturizing effect on the skin, so it's better to soak for a while. And Harold and Noah, at this time, had already brought a few young men who were still alive and drove a large van to the back door of the beauty salon. Harold took out the phone, called the boss, and asked, "Brother Betrayal, how are things prepared? Have you fainted, Elaine? I'm just waiting at the back door." The boss thought to himself, "I haven't made the extra 50,000 yet, so I have to wait for my 50,000 to be safe before doing it." So, he said to Harold, "Harold, wait a moment, that Elaine is taking a bath, there is a bit of ink, but don't worry, I will have the water with the added ingredients ready for her. After the bath, find a chance to let her drink it, and you will wait patiently for my notification. Once she faints, I will call you. Then you can just come in and do your thing." As soon as Harold heard this, he immediately smiled and said, "Brother Betrayal, you are still reliable. Okay. In that case, I'll wait a while, and you will notify me immediately if it's done." "Okay, just wait for me." Elaine soaked for another 10 minutes, feeling that the skin on her body was a little pale because of the blisters, and then she came out of the bathtub reluctantly. After she came out, she immediately rang the service bell, and the clerk who had received her hurried in with a clean bath towel in her hand. She helped Elaine wrap the bath towel and asked diligently, "Madam, do you need to wear disposable under? I will open the package if necessary." As she said, she added, "All our massagers and service staff are women. It doesn't matter if you don't wear them." Elaine thought for a while and said, "I'd better put it on. After all, this is not a bathhouse. It's too awkward to be alone." The clerk nodded and quickly took apart the disposable under for her to wear, and prepared another bathrobe for her. After Elaine put on the bathrobe, she was led to the spa room. Opening the door, the service staff said to Elaine, "Miss, please come in." Elaine nodded, and when she stepped through the door, she found a beautifully dressed woman sitting on the sofa in the room, and asked the clerk with some dissatisfaction, "This is your massager? This fancy suit is too exaggerated. Right? There are so many decorations on her body, making it look like a mannequin in a jewelry shop. What if she accidentally scratched me?" Cynthia must be angry at this. Secretly cursed in her heart, the bun said, "I am wearing fancy clothes," said, "I am pompous." The clerk was also embarrassed at this time. Looking at Cynthia, she didn't know how to introduce Elaine. Cynthia frowned, and said in a very arrogant tone to the clerk, "Okay, you go out first, I'll talk to her." The clerk immediately left the room as if she was getting amnesty, and closed the door behind her. Elaine looked at Cynthia warily, and asked coldly, "Hey, who are you?" Cynthia said lightly, "You don't deserve to know who I am." Elaine suddenly sipped, "You babble. The smelly old lady, what kind of big-tailed eagle is here with me? Dressed in colorful, united, and carrying a fake Hermes, it's not you who are awesome here?" Cynthia suddenly shouted angrily, "What are you talking about? It is a catwalk coat customized by Chanel's top designer. My Hermes is also the top limited edition. The clothes I wear are worth at least 50 million. Elaine disdainfully said, "You pretend to impress me, if I am a bunny who has never seen the world? Just your broken Hermes, and mother dare to say that it is a limited edition. Tell you, I am the one who uses the real products." As she said, she immediately took out the Hermes backpack she had placed in before taking a shower from the locker, hung it on her arm and stretched it out in front of Cynthia, and said pretentiously, "Open your dog's eyes, this is the real Hermes, simple and atmospheric, understand?" Cynthia glanced at Elaine's Hermes, and suddenly she burst into laughter. Seeing her smile, Elaine couldn't help but sneered, "What? You don't dare to pretend to be impressed when you see the real Hermes, right?" Cynthia sighed, and sneered, "I know what is poor, so you are called poor." As she said, her eyes were full of contempt and said, "Do you still dare to show off in front of me with the most basic entry-level Hermes?" Immediately, Cynthia picked up her Hermes, and sneered, "Open your dog's eyes and see it clearly, this Hermes can buy more than 100 of those. F your mother's old mule." Elaine said in disgust, "You boast that you won't be taxed. Listen to what you mean, do you earn 10 million Hermes?" Cynthia sneered, 15 million. Elaine curled her lips, "I really don't know where the dead old lady came from. I chop you up and sell you by a kilogram. You are not worth 15 million. Are you still here to pretend to be my grandma? Get out of here. Don't delay my spa." When Cynthia heard this, her whole body trembled with anger, and she wished to slap Elaine immediately to give a lesson to this unseen turtle. But after another thought, "I came here today, not because she is more expensive than her Hermes, there is still business to be done." So she gritted her teeth and waved her hand, "Okay, Elaine, I won't talk nonsense with you anymore. It's meaningless. I came to you this time because I wanted to make a deal with you." "Doing business?" Elaine frowned, "I have nothing to do with the fake Hermes like you, so get out of here." Cynthia pressed his anger and said coldly, "You might as well listen to me first. I am looking for you this time for one purpose. You go back and get your daughter to divorce Charlie. If you promise me, this check will be yours." After that, she handed the $1 billion check to Elaine, and said proudly, "This check is worth 100 million. As long as you promise me, you can take the money first." Seeing Elaine's expression stunned, Cynthia sneered again, and said in a condescending tone, "But Elaine, listen to me. Since you have taken my money, you must do what I explain. Otherwise, I will not only letting you spit out this money a lot, and it will cost you a huge price." Elaine looked at Cynthia dumbfounded, and blurted out unbelievably, "What are you talking about? This check is worth 100 million. Seeing her surprised look, Cynthia sneered, and said sarcastically, "Look at the way you have never seen the world, Citibank cash check. Haven't you seen it? If you think of someone like you won't have the chance to see it in your life. Such a large cash check." Elaine's whole expression immediately became uncertain. Cynthia thought she completely shocked Elaine, and smiled satisfied. She held the check in her hand and slapped it a few times, and smiled arrogantly, "Do you want this check? If you want, just listen to me and persuade your daughter to leave Charlie." Elaine's expression suddenly became a little annoyed. Cynthia hasn't figured out how this woman's expression has become so fast. Elaine suddenly stretched out her hand and snatched the check over, took a close look in front of her, and then angrily tore the check into pieces. Cynthia was dumbfounded. She saw Elaine tear her 100 million check into shreds, and immediately said in her heart, "It seems that I have underestimated this stinky lady." She tore the check even if she said it. It seems that her appetite is not small. At this moment, when Cynthia saw Elaine staring at her with an extremely angry look, she gritted her teeth and said, "Okay. 100 million is too small for you, yes. As long as you obediently listen to me, let your daughter and Charlie divorce after the formalities are completed, I can give you 200 million. After all, she immediately took out the checkbook from Hermes' bag, took off the pen cap, and said coldly, "You think about it. If you want, I will write you a check now." When Cynthia said this, she thought to herself, Elaine is nothing but an old hat in a small city. Don't look at you in a villa of Thompson, but you must be a stinky silk who has never seen a lot of money. A billion is in front of you, I don't believe you will refuse. Thinking of this, Cynthia suddenly saw a flower, and in the next second, a sharp pain came from her left cheek. Snapped. It turned out that Elaine directly raised her hand and slapped Cynthia severely. Cynthia has never been beaten in her entire life, and never dreamed that she lived more than 40 years old. The first slap in her life was actually beaten. She immediately felt a burst of anger rush to her head. Staring at Elaine, she yelled hysterically, "BTCH! Are you crazy? Dare to beat me? Do you know who I am?" As soon as the voice fell, Elaine came up directly, kicked her chest, and kicked her directly from the back of the sofa. Although Cynthia is not a good person, she is also an intellectual. Although she was proud and bullied others all her life, she basically was never bullied with violence to this level. Therefore, Elaine suddenly moved her hands, and she suddenly had no resistance. Seeing being knocked to the ground by Elaine, she struggled to get up and cursed with a disheveled hair, "Elaine! Are you sick? I am giving you money, if you don't, there is no need to do it with me. Don't you understand the truth that a gentleman speaks but doesn't use his hands?" Elaine gritted her teeth and cursed, "What a gentleman who talks but doesn't do anything! Since you dare to give the dead man the paper money to fool me, why can't I beat you like this? I will not only beat you today, I want to kill you." Cynthia was almost blinded at the moment. She yelled hysterically, "What are you doing? I gave you a cash check from Citibank. You can hear clearly, it's Citibank. Even if you have never seen the world, at least have some basic common sense." Elaine rushed over in a rage, and rode directly on Cynthia's stomach. With her big mouth bowed from side to side, she flicked towards Cynthia's face and cursed as she slapped, "You treat me as a fool. I have been fooled like this once, you dare to cheat me again." At this moment, Elaine thought in her heart that Jacob was hospitalized in the hospital. She wanted a check for her daughter Claire's check-out rent. After Charlie handed the check to her, she took the check to pay for the hospitalization. Unexpectedly, the denomination of that check turned out to be 100 million. At that time, the hospital cashier ridiculed her and threatened to call the police to catch her. In the end, she went back to Charlie to settle the accounts in a rage, only to realize that Charlie had bought the check from the funeral store and planned to burn it to his deceased parents. Therefore, Cynthia now also took out a 100 million check, which looks almost exactly the same as Charlie's 100 million check at that time. In this case, of course she was furious. What's more hateful is that this Cynthia has been repeatedly emphasizing Citibank in front of her. In this life, Elaine hated Citibank the most. Because for her, the worst experience in her life was caused by the fake black gold card of Citibank. After that, she was put in a detention center, and was abused by Mrs. Wilson, Wendy, and the big and rough Gina for several days. Those just a few days were definitely the black hole of Elaine's life. Therefore, when she saw that Cynthia not only cheated her with a check of 100 million from the dead, but also dared to use Citibank to chirp here, she was already angry. Cynthia was dizzy and nauseous when she was beaten at this time, and her cheeks that Elaine beat back and forth were red and swollen, and the pain was unbearable. Although she screamed, her bodyguard was outside the gate at this time and couldn't hear the movement so deep inside, so he couldn't help her at all. Even though Cynthia was beaten very dumbfounded, she knew very well in her heart that now it is idiotic to get his mobile phone and let the bodyguard come in to rescue him, so he can only fight with Elaine. As a result, she suddenly stretched out her hand to grab Elaine's hair like crazy. After grabbing a lock of Elaine's hair, she yanked her desperately. Elaine didn't expect her to be beaten by this woman all of a sudden, and as a result she attacked her hair. Suddenly, she felt a sharp pain in her hair, which made her scream several times, and she was desperately trying to beat Cynthia with her hands. While beating and cursing, "Silly idiot, you dare to pull my hair, I fight with you." Naturally, Cynthia was not to be outdone. With that strand of hair in her hand, he desperately tore, and directly tore all that strand of hair from Elaine's head. This time, Elaine covered her head in pain and yelled. Cynthia saw that this was an opportunity, and directly pushed Elaine to the ground, and then rushed up, riding on Elaine's stomach, facing her face for a while. Even I dare to fight, I kill you, shrew. Cynthia was mad at this moment. If she were given a knife, she would be able to kill Elaine on the spot. At this moment, the waiter outside heard the movement and ran over in a hurry, opened the door to see, and was shocked immediately, so she hurried to the boss's room, opened the door and panted and said, "Boss, no. Not good." Then, the two women, in the room, fighting. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.